Hi guys, we have been working on our rough draft and today we are about to edit and revise and fix any mistakes we might have. Remember, our rough draft isn't our final copy, it's just to get all of our notes down in complete sentences, and then we can go back and tweak it and make sure that we have it right for when we do our final copy. So in your Canvas, your rough draft paper looked like this. You were able to write right on this in your iPad, or you could have printed this out, or you could have used paper that you had at home, which is what I did. So I have my rough draft all done. Since we last met, I finished the rest of my sections. I wrote them all out into a paragraph and used sentences from my notes, okay? So when we are editing, we want to make sure that we do a few things. And right here I have a checklist. We watched our videos and learned some information about editing, but I wanted to show you this checklist here that we have for ourselves to help us. For our spelling, we want to make sure that we are spelling our sight words correctly. We want to use the sounds that we know, so if they're hard words and we're not sure, we want to be able to sound them out. That's helping us to know what letters to use. That's what we do in kid writing. And stretching out those syllables to hear each sound. Here they give you an example as the word fantastic. It's a long word, but if you sound it all out, and we know that glued sound, t, ass, t, ick. We can hear all those letter sounds and be able to spell that really big long word. We also want to look at capitalization. We know that we need to capitalize the first word in each sentence, and we've just learned about our proper nouns and capitalizing the names of people, places, and things. Okay, like geographic locations or certain species of animal, like beluga is a type of whale. Okay, and the Arctic Ocean is the name of an ocean. We also want to look at our punctuation. We want to make sure that we use correct punctuation. We need to have periods at the end of our sentences. If we're excitedly talking about something, we can use an exclamation point. If we ask a question, we have to make sure that we use a question mark. And then we want to make sure that we write complete sentences, which is what we've been talking about. We're not using our bullets in our notes anymore. We're making them into a complete sentence that makes sense. So this paper's to help you, and if you get through each section, then you've done a good job editing. So we're going to start, and I'm going to show you what that means. For this, I have grabbed a different color so that it kind of stands out. It's like annotating your own writing. So I used a pencil originally, but right now I'm going to use a pen to try to find some mistakes if I have any. Alright, so basically what you do when you edit your own stuff is you read it out loud to yourself, and if it makes sense or if you catch other words that you've misspelled, you fix them. Okay, and again, this can be sloppy, you can scribble, you can cross out. That's why it's called a rough draft. And I tell my own kids, read out loud to yourself. You may feel like it sounds silly, but when you're reading out loud, you can pick up more mistakes easier. So let's get started. Introduction. Did you know sea otters use tools to help them eat their food? So I know I need a question mark there, and I have one, so that's good. I learned a lot of I think I spelled this word wrong, so I'm going to cross this out and write underneath the right spelling. So when I go back and rewrite it in my final copy, I'll use my correction. Facts about sea otters. Read my report to learn more. I know this doesn't look right either, so I'm going to fix my word learn. Has that EA vowel team. I'm going to keep going. Sea otters live in the Pacific Ocean in North America and Asia. Well, since we just learned that we need to capitalize geographic locations and the names of things, I know I have some mistakes here. The Pacific Ocean is a specific ocean. So this P needs to be a capital P. And this O needs to be a capital O. And I know that North America both needs capital letters. And Asia is also the name of something, so I need to have, since Asia is the name of a place, I need that capitalized too. Sea otters like to live in harbors or kelp forests that help protect them from waves. That sentence didn't sound right when I read it out loud, so I'm going to go back and read that again. Sea otters like to live in harbors or kelp forests. I think I'm going to put a period here. And then start this as a new sentence. And maybe take that word that out and start with they. They help protect them from waves. Since I just used that word they, and it sounds repetitive, I'm going to change that word to sea otter. See how if you're reading it out loud, it sometimes doesn't sound right? Or you maybe hear the words repeated over and over again? Then you can just change it. Sea otters live usually within a mile from the coastline. Okay, so that's pretty good. We're going to keep going. My next section is diet. Sea otters are carnivores. They like to eat crabs, fish, squid, octopus, and sea urchins. Okay, so I might want to explain what this big scientific word carnivores means. I might add a sentence in here when I'm doing my final copy and explain what that means. Carnivores means that they eat meat. Okay, that means they eat meat. They like to eat crabs, fish, squid, octopus, and sea urchins. Because a lot of their food has a shell, they use a rock as a tool to help open it. Sea otters eat 3 to 4 times a day, like us. I made that connection when I was taking down notes because we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which is usually 3 times a day, if not snacks in between. So it kind of reminded me of the way that we eat. All right, what they look like. Sea otters have dark brown fur with light brown fur around their face. Their fur helps them float and keep them warm. That didn't make sense. Their fur helps them to float and keeps them warm. They have long bodies with long back legs and short front legs. Maybe since I used legs twice, I'll change that to paws, because I know they mentioned them being paws when I was doing my research. Their webbed back feet help them swim. And their flat tails help them steer. They grow to be up to 4 feet long and between 30 to 100 pounds. I used an exclamation point here because that to me is exciting. I can't believe they weigh 100 pounds. That's a big sea otter. They have whiskers, which helps them find their way in murky water. All right, well, right here I started a sentence with a lowercase letter, so I need to fix that. I'm going to make this a capital T. And I need to make sure that I have a period at the end of my sentence. They live for 15 to 20 years. Okay, let's go to interesting facts. Sea otters are great swimmers. I spelled that word wrong. They float in their backs in the water to sleep. Again, that sentence didn't sound right. They float on their backs in the water to sleep. Sea otters have dense fur. Oh, I see a sight word I spelled wrong. Have has an E on the end. They have 1 million hairs per inch. We have 100,000 hairs. I need to add this extra fact. On our whole head. Can you believe that? So that little arrow just tells me I need to insert that at the end of the sentence. But they have 1 million hairs in 1 inch of their fur, where we only have 100,000 hairs on our whole entire head. Wow. A group of sea otters is called a raft. Alright, and then our conclusion we did together before. In conclusion, sea otters are interesting mammals. I hope you liked learning about them as much as I did. If you wanted to, you could add another sentence here. It's kind of short. You could add something like, I hope to one day see one in real life. I saw them one time at the zoo. You can add another detail if you want to. That's up to you on your conclusion, how that sounds to you. Okay, guys? So you're going to go back through your paper. You're going to find the mistakes like I did. Fix your spelling. And you know what? When I write papers, I usually go through it more than once. Because even if you go through it one time and you find mistakes, chances are you can go through it again and find more mistakes. So you can't ever revise and edit too many times. Again, you can refer to your checklist just to make sure that you're checking. Just to make sure that you're checking off all of these things that you need to look for. That will help you stay focused. And then when you are done, we'll use that to help us with our final copy. Great work today.